Looks like you guys wanted a phone script. All right, let's get into it. If you're new here, my name is Danny Christine. 10 years ago, I started a group family daycare in my home, and today I own 4 childcare centers in New York State with a capacity of over 250 children. And I help other childcare providers across the United States start up, manage, and build systems for their childcare programs on childcaresites.com. Last year, I made this video sharing a few different marketing strategies my team and I used to build up our contact list in preparation for the new school year. In that video, I mentioned the importance of collecting basic contact info and just general details about every new person that inquires about your business, even if it's just a quick phone call. As a business, when your phone rings, it could be money on the other line, and every phone call needs to be approached with that mindset. The person who actually picks up and answers the phone in your childcare program really matters, and the way that they answer that call matters much more. Now, before we get into the phone script that my team and I use in my childcare company, I want to make sure that we're on the same page about how you are going to run your business. I don't care if you have hundreds of kids enrolled in multiple centers or just a small handful in your home. It is exceptional and will be impressive to families if you have a consistent, professional way of answering your phone, especially if your program is smaller in size or is a family daycare. Don't assume that anything that I'm sharing that I do will just not work for you because your program might be smaller in size or you might not have any hired help. Use your discretion and pull things from this video that you think might work for you and just leave the things out that don't. All right, so first things first, you're going to need a place where you can actually store the contact information and the notes from each call that you have. Before I had the digital solutions that I have in place now, for me, this looked like random notebooks, notepads, and post-it notes all over my desk and computer. Very disorganized. Then once I was able to hire help to answer the phone, this changed a little bit. Within my leadership team, I have hired a parent coordinator and a virtual assistant who are assigned to answer every incoming call, especially the ones regarding new enrollments. So to make sure that our callers were receiving the same consistent experience, now that myself plus 2 other people could potentially be picking up the phone, I created a customized notepad that had our phone script and branding all over it, making it very easy for whoever is receiving that call to remember what questions to ask and write down the responses that they receive. That was my first transition from disorganized post-it notes all over my desk to having a system in place for our employees who answer the phone. Nowadays, we are able to store contact information and notes digitally within the back-end system of our Wix website. Wix has a CRM system built into the back end of it, and CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. So there is a CRM system built into Wix, and over the years, we have built up a contact list of over 3,000 people within our local community in the range of our center locations. And having that list there right on the back end of our website makes it so easy to send out beautifully designed email newsletters and follow up with families whenever they are inquiring about childcare. Families can get automatically added to our enrollment process pipeline within the workflow on the back end of Wix. It is, I am so grateful that I found this solution for my business. And because I'm so grateful for what I've learned, I want to share exactly how Wix keeps my phone lines ringing with new inquiries on the other end. This summer, I'm selecting a group of childcare providers to work with for 4 weeks to build a customized website that is beautifully designed and has a back-end system that works specifically for them to power their business. If you're interested in applying for childcare remote control, visit childcaresites.com or click the link in the description to learn more about it. So you could use a CRM that you custom built with childcare remote control, or your own CRM that you already have. You could use a Google Doc. You could use your phone's app, like your phone's actual phone app button, so you can store your contacts there. or if old-fashioned pen and paper works best for you, which I absolutely do not suggest, but go on ahead. Whatever floats your boat. Okay, so now that you have an idea of where you're going to store the contact information and details from each call, you need to know what sort of information and details you're going to need to ask for. At the bare minimum on every call, you need to immediately be asking for 3 things. That's their name, their number, and their email address. That should be the bare minimum, bottom line, basic goal of every single call. Name, number, email. Now, this does not mean that you start conversations like, hello, who is this? What's your name? What's your number? What's your email? No. That person knows how valuable their information is. And you do too. And you may already have experience with people being hesitant or even resistant to giving you answers to your questions and giving you the information that you're asking for. So 2 things are going to be important to having this call go your way so that you can actually meet your goal. 1, the person needs to be able to trust you. And 2, you need to be able to offer something valuable in exchange for their contact information. With that in mind, I want you to think about, what does this caller want? Obviously, yes, they need childcare, but they're probably calling dozens of other programs, asking questions that will be decision makers based on certain factors. In your community, what are those factors? It could be the hours, it could be a prime location, it could be the specific types of services or programs that you offer within your daycare. But I'm gonna take just a wild guess and assume that the top question that you may get asked over the phone is, what are your rates? Now, when you're asked that question or questions like that, do you just answer the question? If you do, you're not wrong. I get it. But let's bring it back to, how can we build our contact list? This is a perfect opportunity for an exchange. How about, instead of answering that question with a simple, I charge $400 a week, you say something like, we have a few different session options for families with a variety of rates. Let me email you our digital brochure so you can choose an option that works best for your budget. Or if you really do only have one option for a tuition rate, which you might want to look into that, then you could choose to offer to email them something that would answer a different type of question that they have. The key is to find something that you have multiple options for or a variety of, so that you can say something like, let me send it to you so you can look at it on your own time, maybe discuss with your partner and pick an option that works best for you. But let's say your business doesn't have options of things. And if that's the case, maybe you could encourage them to give you your email to send them a discount on the registration fee, or a certain percentage off of something, or maybe even just a straight up gift card or gift certificate to a different business or product. Personally, I have just found it so easy over the years to get the email in exchange for our digital brochure that includes the tuition rates. That has worked very well for us, and that is what we will continue to do. And by the way, if you have all of your most valuable information just plastered on your website for any and everybody to see without needing to pick up the phone to call you, or at the very least entering in their email address. So for example, if your tuition rate is just on your website, get that off. You don't need it there. You can have it on your website, but it should be hidden from your menu. It should not be just accessible for anyone who clicks on. They need to be able to give you something in exchange for that information. If you need help with that, please consider applying for a childcare remote control. I'll help you to build or redesign your website that will function as a great way to collect contact information from your website visitors without them even having to pick up the phone to call you. So click the link in the description and apply today. Anyway, now that you know you've got to figure out a valuable exchange in case you get some pushback when asking for contact info, let's talk about how you can avoid pushback altogether by building trust. When the phone rings and you go to answer it, I want you to be immediately thankful that your phone is ringing. Remember, it could be someone that wants to support your business on the other end of that call. They're supporting you. It could be money on the line. Even if you don't necessarily need it right now, or you don't have an available slot in your program that needs to be filled anyway, you should still be grateful that someone out there is thinking about you and your business and how you could meet a need that they have. So be thankful. It can be so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and the operations of the program and be overwhelmed enough to feel like when the phone is ringing, it is a huge inconvenience and a big burden, especially when you're not physically ready for that call. So you need to fix that. Childcare remote control is a great opportunity to create automations within your back-end systems, especially if you don't have any help. It will help to reduce overwhelm so that you can actually be grateful whenever the phone rings. So practice with me. The phone rings. You're happy, you're grateful, you're going to put a smile on and answer it. You see how my voice changed immediately once I started to smile? Now that you're smiling, you're gonna sit up straight or stand up if you have to, and you're going to take out your notepad and take notes as you're speaking to this person. You're going to thank them for calling. You're going to introduce yourself and your business by name. And just like any other successful business out there that has a phone, you're going to ask them something like, "How can I help you today?" Now, hopefully they immediately go straight into introducing themselves properly with their name after that. But if they don't, you can quickly say something like, "Can I get your name and number in case we get disconnected?" Boom, you have 2 out of the 3 basic things that you set a goal to achieve with the call. Last up is the email, which you might want to save for the mid-end to end of the conversation. Now, after a parent introduces themselves, I find that they usually go straight into explaining what it is that they're calling about, what they want, telling their story, giving you a lot of information that you maybe didn't even ask for yet. This is good. You need to be taking notes about the things that they're saying. If they have a son or a daughter, if they mention their child's name, if they mention their child's age, if they mention the reason why they are looking for childcare, if they mention any red flags that might be a concern to you, whatever it is, make sure you're writing it down somewhere. And if they don't start immediately divulging information, be prepared with some questions that show that you are actively wanting to get to know them and taking interest in them personally. Ask about their family, ask about their needs, ask if their child has ever been in a childcare setting before. Get to know what's important to them so that you can then highlight the features of your program that will make it obvious to them that you are the best choice. So that's kind of what the beginning of the calls sound like in my company. And if we are really in need of pushing for enrollments, then the second half of the phone call is more so geared to convincing them to come into one of our locations for a tour. We stress to them that availability is limited and enrollment is based on first come, first serve, and that it would benefit them to come in right away. We do individual tours during select time slots that parents must schedule in advance. That's just how we do things in our program. Maybe you allow walk-ins, maybe you only do group tours. Whatever rocks your world. But I will say that doing scheduled tours is a great way to collect even more information about the parent and family beyond the top 3 basic things. Our tour scheduling can be done by parents on their own independently because we have a booking calendar that's on the front end of our website. So when people click on the register button on our website, it brings them to an option to book a tour at their chosen location. And if they want to book a tour over the phone, our administrators have access to the back end of our site so that they can plug in the parents' contact information into the booking calendar directly. Either way, when booking a tour, we require name, number, email, child's name, child's date of birth, and a home address. We also ask the question of if they have a childcare assistance program, subsidy, or voucher. And because we use Wix, all this information is stored within the person's profile card in our contact list, making it super easy to find later. And because I took the time to customize automations whenever certain actions are taken involving our website, anytime a tour is booked, an email alert is sent to me and our center directors to notify us that a tour was booked. A text message is sent to the parent 2 hours before the scheduled date and time to remind them that they booked a tour, and a follow-up email is sent after the tour to ask the parents how their tour went. It is all so easy. It's truly amazing, and I'm telling you guys, you would really benefit from Childcare Remote Control, where I will show you how to create these things custom built for your own program. So be sure to visit childcaresites.com or visit the link in the description box. Also, while you're down in the description box, I want you to scroll a little further down to the comments and comment, tell me more about your tours, if you are interested in learning about how our tour process goes. So besides getting that basic information of name, number, and email, getting their child's name and date of birth is going to be a great success for you as well if you could get that over the phone. Now, of course, the ultimate goal is going to be converting that caller to an enrolled family. So you do have to have a great program and be able to speak confidently over the phone about how great your program is. Create your own phone script with questions that you know are going to be important to you, and practice that script with your friends, family, or current parents enrolled in your program. Get some practice in. And please do not forget to be prepared. When that phone rings, have your script out and have a way of taking notes about the call out, whether you're using a notepad or you're using your computer or some sort of digital device. Eventually, once you do it enough, the script lines, the conversation, and the key points to be aware of will come naturally to you. But just in the beginning, make sure you're prepared with those things in front of you so that you're not stuttering and stammering your way through the call, making it awkward for both you and the caller. But what happens if you miss a call? Because it happens, especially if you don't have hired help, you might miss a call, and that's okay. Hopefully you do have a professional voicemail greeting set up on the other end that the caller would hear. And hopefully you have caller ID so that you can identify the numbers that called that you may have missed so that you can call them back even if they do not leave a message. And I do want you to call back all missed calls, even if they do not leave a message. Do this at least by the end of your business day, or if it's already late, or worst comes to worst, you can do it at the beginning of your next business day. Honestly, do it as soon as possible after missing the call if you can. People really want to know that you prioritize getting back to them and that you are a responsive business owner. Also, don't forget to follow up. This is where a lot of providers drop the ball, myself included. We need to remember to follow up with families. If you don't have automations built into your systems that do this automatically for you, like we now do, then you need to make sure you have something set in place for yourself where you're going to remember to follow through on those promises you made while you were on the phone. If you can't join Childcare Remote Control to build out these automations, then make sure that you have scheduled, blocked off time at the end of each day or at some point during the day, or maybe a few times a week, to follow up with families as needed. During that time, you're going to be sending out emails, text messages, maybe mailing stuff off to physical addresses, whatever it is that you are promising families, that's the time to do it. And make sure that you're managing families' expectations on the time frame it's going to take to actually receive whatever it is that you're telling them you're going to send. So if you're on a call and you're telling a parent, yeah, I'll email you that digital brochure as soon as we get off the phone, make sure you do it. But if you have a baby in your hand and you know you're on your way to the kitchen to go prepare a lunch, and then you got to hop in the bus to go pick up a kid from school down the street, why would you say that? You're not going to send that digital brochure as soon as you get off the phone. After you get their email address, instead tell them, I'll send that to you by the end of the day, if that's your time frame. Truthfully though, people do not want to wait that long for answers to their questions. Like I mentioned earlier, they may be calling dozens of other programs, and it would be a shame for them to make a decision based on who got back to them quicker, but that is sometimes what happens. So try to figure out those automations and ways that you can relieve yourself of some follow-up practices. And if you need help with that, you can click the link in the description. Now, what if you followed the phone script that you have, you followed all these steps, the call goes great, but they don't register right away? Or let me be more optimistic. What if you just simply don't have space in your program for the child? Does that mean their data doesn't matter, so you can toss it out, or worse, just not even write it down at all? No, of course not. It still matters very much. Whether the family enrolls with you right away or not, you should still keep them on your contact list with as much details about the call as possible so that you will know when to reach out to them if a spot does become available. You would also now have their email address so that you can be sending them updates about your program and highlights about your services in the form of email newsletters or checking in with them every so often. I cannot tell you how many times over the years that we have gotten a new enrollment from a family that has been sitting on our contact list for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. There's many different reasons that families may choose not to move forward with enrolling with you immediately, but it all boils down to the very simple truth of they're just not ready to do business with you at that moment. But that doesn't mean that they will never be. But you need to stay on top of their mind for when that time comes that they are ready. So get your phone script together, build up that contact list, and work on your automations. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful to you, then please hit that thumbs up button so I know that you liked it. If you need help with anything that I mentioned in this video, please visit childcaresites.com, where you can apply for childcare remote control, or you can even book a private video consultation with me. And if you want to be notified when I post my next video, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and click that notification bell to be notified the next time I post a video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.